The first mistake most people make is believing that disrespect begins with someone else's attitude. It doesn't. Disrespect begins the moment people discover that your standards can be negotiated. Long before anyone interrupts you or ignores your opinion, they have already been studying you. Human beings are constantly reading silent signals, noticing what you tolerate, forgive, and excuse. The frightening truth is this: people rarely disrespect confidence first. They disrespect permission. Robert Greene reveals that power is rooted in perception. If people sense your confidence depends on their approval, they possess leverage over you. But when you value yourself regardless of outside validation, disrespect becomes risky because they no longer control the outcome. Self-respect is a strategic weapon communicating that crossing your boundaries brings consequences. Not consequences born from anger, but from your willingness to walk away and remove your presence completely. People who naturally command respect speak less, but when they do, everyone listens. Their behavior communicates one truth: my value does not depend on your opinion. When you constantly seek acceptance, laugh at jokes made at your expense, or apologize unnecessarily, appreciation turns into entitlement, and entitlement becomes disrespect. Every time you allow someone to cross a line without responding, you redraw that line farther away. People admire kindness, but they respect standards. True self-respect never needs to announce itself with loud displays or emotional outbursts. Genuine confidence is quiet because it has nothing to prove. Once you build unshakable self-respect, the next step is making every word carry weight. Most people fail because they believe authority comes from speaking more or winning every argument. In reality, the more desperate you are to be understood, the less powerful you appear. Words are valuable only when they are scarce. The person who speaks endlessly leaves no mystery, and predictable people are easy to manipulate. Mystery creates power because human beings naturally fear what they cannot fully predict. When criticized, the insecure person immediately offers excuses to convince others. The strong person listens calmly, responds only if necessary, and shifts the balance of power through silence. Silence creates uncertainty, forces others to fill the empty space, and allows you to gather valuable information. Speaking less means replacing impulsive reactions with deliberate responses, choosing influence over attention and strategy over emotion. However, words alone are never enough if your boundaries exist only in conversation and not in action. Boundaries separate people who merely ask for respect from those who naturally command it. Disrespect rarely happens all at once. It begins with small unanswered remarks or broken promises. When people cross a small line without consequence, they become curious about where the next line is. When your standards remain the same regardless of status or circumstance, your reputation starts doing the work for you. The desire to be liked often becomes an invitation to be used. The strongest boundaries are calm, predictable, and consistent. When disrespected, a powerful person does not raise their voice. They quietly reduce access and enforce consequences based on principles, not anger. When someone loses access to your time because they crossed a line, they associate disrespect with loss. Human beings remember consequences far longer than they remember conversations. The next level of power comes from mastering your emotions when others try to provoke you. When someone insults you in public to pull you into an emotional reaction, your greatest enemy is your own emotions. The person who controls your emotions controls you. Real strength is the ability to dominate yourself. Anger, frustration, and wounded pride create blind spots that opponents can easily exploit. If a single insult makes you lose your composure, you prove that your behavior can be controlled from the outside. Powerful people create space between feeling and acting, allowing emotions to settle before making decisions. When you refuse to react in the expected way, you introduce uncertainty that discourages future disrespect. In the end, people don't fear the loudest person in the room. They fear the one who cannot be emotionally controlled. Beyond emotional discipline lies your value. People protect what they fear losing. If your presence is common, your attention unlimited, and your time available to anyone, people slowly take you for granted. Scarcity increases perceived value. The greatest source of value is continuous personal growth in skills, knowledge, discipline, and reliability. When you constantly improve yourself, you possess options, and people with options are never easily controlled. Real value exists whether people recognize it or not. You must be fully prepared to walk away from situations that no longer respect your worth. The people who are most respected are rarely those who demand importance. They are the ones whose absence is felt the moment they leave. Finally, your actions must create a reputation so strong that people think twice before testing your character. People trust patterns more than promises. Anyone can claim to be confident, but words disappear the moment reality contradicts them. Consistency is one of the most underestimated forms of power. When your standards remain firm day after day, people stop testing you because experience has taught them the outcome. An image depends on what people think today, but character determines what they will think tomorrow. Every promise you keep strengthens your reputation. Every standard you protect reinforces your authority, and every moment of discipline adds another layer to your identity. Making people fear disrespecting you is never about intimidation or aggression. It is about becoming a person whose self-respect is unwavering, whose words carry weight, whose boundaries are consistent, whose emotions remain under control, and whose value is undeniable. Once you reach that point, respect is no longer something you chase. It becomes something people willingly give.